Hello everyone, today I am going to discuss about the new topic function. In this lecture, I will cover what is function, what do you mean by function, why we need the function in C programming, what are the various type of function available, how function work in C programming, what does mean function prototype, what are the various aspect of C programming, different aspect of function calling, and more important thing, I will discuss in more details about the call by value and call by reference. It is very important for your exam also. I will also cover the difference between the arguments and parameter, and at the end of this chapter I will discuss about the how to pass an array to a function, how to pass an array to a function. So, this part is very important, most of the time we will use in our programming language. So, there are so many important part in this lecture. Function is let us start with the function definition. So, what is function? A function is a block of statement that perform a specific task. So, block of statement that perform a specific task. Suppose you are building an application in C programming language, and in one of your program, and you need to perform a same task more than one time. So, in such case you have two options: use the same set of statement every time you want to perform the task, or you can create a function to perform that task and just call it every time you need to perform that task. So, usually option B is very good, the second option is a good practice, and a good programmer always use the function while writing code in C programming. You can take another example, in practical example. Suppose you need to create a program to create a circle and you want to color the circle. So, you can create two functions to solve this problem. First, you can create a circle function, then second you can create another function that will color the circle. So, dividing a complex problem into smaller chunk of makes our program easy to understand and use. So, we can say that function is a block of statement and that performs specific tasks. Here the specific task means some set of code that perform to solve our particular problem. So, what is the advantage of C program? So, why we need the function in C programming? So, there are several advantage. So, first one, so advantage of function. First one, we can say that by using function we can avoid rewriting the same logic or code again and again in a program. So, if I use the function, we can avoid such type of boring thing in our code. So, we can avoid the same logic again and again in our programming code. Second one, we can think, if I call a C function any number of times in our program and from any place in a program, it means improve the reusability of the code. So, that is the main achievement of a function, or you can say it is a great advantage of a function, that is reusability of same code. The third point is we can track a large C program easily when we divide it into multiple functions. It means debugging of a code would be very easier if you use the function, and as error as easy to trace. So, that means if I divide the large number of program into number of multiple function, so debugging is more easy to trace out the error. However, we have some disadvantage, we have to ignore it, always a overhead in a C program. So, how to write a program by using function. So, it may be a overhead, but we can overcome it. So, it has always advantage. The mainly advantage is reusability is the main achievement of a C function. So, next point, type of function. There are two type of function in C programming. First one is called standard or standard library function. And second one is user defined function. So, what does mean the standard library function? The standard library function are built-in function in C programming. These functions are defined in our header file, already we predefined. For example, we have already used the printf statement, we have used printf is a standard library function to send formatted output to the screen, or you can say that display output on the screen. The function in defined in header file stdio.h, standard input output dot header file, we already know that. So, if I want to use the printf function, we have to include the header file stdio.h. Hence, the printf function is a standard library function. We have such another so many other standard function. For example, we have a function like square sqrt, square root of a function, that is already predefined in our math.h header file. So, here the standard library function means those functions which are already defined in our header file. There are so many header file stdio.h, math.h, conio.h, error.h, so many other header file are available in the C programming. So, these are belongs to standard library function. So, what does mean the user defined function actually? We basically deal with the user defined function. Sometimes those functions which are I have already discussed, square root function, pow function. So, those functions are not required. Sometimes we need or we have to create our own function as per our requirement. For example, if I want to add two number, so we have to, if I implement by using function, so we have to create my own function that will add two number, two integer number. So, such function created by the user are known as user defined function. So, user defined function means the function that will be created by user. So, how function work in C programming? So, next question is how C programming is work. So, let us look at this. suppose this is the name of a function. I will discuss all details in a few minutes. So, for example, right now for simplicity this is the name of a function. So, here name of a function is function name, and here main is also a function, you already know that. So, here main is another function where the program execution start, and main function is called by operating system. So, within this main function we have called another function, this is name function name. So, when we call this function, function name, the automatically the control will transfer to this function whose name is match with the function. In a C programming file more than one function may be available, okay. Any number of function may be available, okay. So, the control automatically transfer to this function, and after executing this function it may be returned to the last statement after the calling function. It always return to the last statement. If I do not want to return any value from this function, then it will automatically to the last statement. So, in this way, in this fashion the function actually work. So, I will explain with an example in details when we will discuss about this function calling, function definition, function return type, then it will be more clear to you. So, right now, so one thing is we have to keep that in mind, if I write any function for our user need, then it is called user defined function. And whatever the advantage we have discussed so far, like the program will be very easier to understand, maintain and debug, we can use the code again and again in a program. So, large program can be divided into smaller module. So, these are the actually advantage of user defined function. So, let us take an example so that it may be clear to you, more clear to you. Suppose I want to add two integer number. So, what would be my first line? So, I am just writing the whole code so that you can understand from this example. So, first what is the first line? First line is has include stdio.h. Then I am writing a function prototype. Do not worry, I will discuss in details what does mean the function prototype. That is why I am just explaining with the help of this example. Then I will explain each and every part of this function, then it will be clear to you. Right now just what is, how it is working, that is important. So, this is my name of the function. I am just passing two parameter, integer a and integer b. So, there is a semicolon, then I have written, then int main, which is the main function. Suppose I want to add two number, means we have to take two input from the keyboard. So, I am taking two variable for n1 for number 1, n2 for number 2, and I want to add two numbers. So, I am taking additional variable sum, that is equal to 0, or it may not be 0, it is okay. First I am giving information to the user to input two number. So, input enter two number, enter two integer, two number. This is very easy, and then we will use scanf statement to read the input. Scanf then percentile d, then percentile d, ampersand of n1 and ampersand of n2. Okay. So, whatever the value has to be given by the user. So, first value will be assigned to this variable n1 and the second value will be assigned to this variable n2. Then I am calling a function. So, my function name is at number. So, at number I am just passing the value of this variable, for example n1 and n2 with 2 argument call, that is called actually function call, and the result will be assigned to the variable sum. Okay. Then I will print the result, printf sum equal to, or you can write result equal to sum, then return 0. Then we have to write this function. So, I am writing this function, int return type of this function int at number int a comma int b, then that is my logic. I have just used int result is a local variable, then result equal to a plus b, and I will return the result, returned result. Now, look at this. Hello everyone, today I am going to discuss about the new topic function. In this lecture, I will cover what is function, what do you mean by function, why we need the function in C programming, what are the various type of function available, how function work in C programming, what does mean function prototype, what are the various aspect of C programming, different aspect of function calling, and more important thing, I will discuss in more details about the call by value and call by reference. It is very important for your exam also. I will also cover the difference between the arguments and parameter, and at the end of this chapter I will discuss about the how to pass an array to a function, how to pass an array to a function. So, this part is very important, most of the time we will use in our programming language. So, there are so many important part in this lecture. Function is